The digital realm of Real Racing 3 offers an intoxicating portal into the high-octane world of Formula 1, and selecting the Red Bull Racing RB20, with Max Verstappen virtually at the helm, for a showdown at the iconic Interlagos circuit, is an invitation to experience something truly special. The RB20, a name that echoes with the prestige of a championship contender, as hinted by its documented competitive history culminating in a championship victory, Sight 1, feels like a finely tuned weapon even in its pixelated form. The anticipation builds as you scroll through the car selection screen, the deep blues and vibrant yellows of its livery gleaming under the virtual showroom lights. This isn't just any car. It's a machine designed for the ragged edge, and Interlagos, with its passionate phantom crowds and notoriously fickle weather, is the perfect amphitheater to unleash its potential. Embarking on a simulated season, the initial races mirror the RB20's real-world, dominant form during the opening rounds, Sight 1. In Real Racing 3, this translates to an almost ethereal connection with the car. The steering is incisive, the throttle response immediate, and the downforce glues the car to the track in high-speed corners. Qualifying sessions become a pursuit of perfection, shaving off hundredths of a second, feeling the subtle feedback through your device as the tires bite into the asphalt. Nailing a pole position lap, then converting it into a commanding lights to flag victory, becomes an expectation, a thrilling replication of Verstappen's own relentless pursuit of excellence. You can almost feel the ghost of his supreme confidence as you pilot the virtual RB20, the engine note a triumphant roar as you pull away from the pack. Early tracks on the calendar blur into a sequence of well-executed strategies and flawless driving, the car responding to every input with precision, making overtakes seem almost effortless, much like the highlights one might see from those dominant early-season real-world performances. Then, the calendar brings you to Brazil, to Interlagos, the Autódromo José Carlos Pace. This track is a different beast altogether. Its undulating layout, the dramatic plunge into the Senna S, right after the start, the long, sweeping arquibancadas leading back onto the main straight, and the ever-present threat of a sudden downpour. It's a circuit that demands respect and rewards bravery. In Real Racing 3, the atmosphere of Interlagos is palpable. The digital grandstands are packed, the roar of the crowd a constant companion. You can almost taste the churrascaria smoke. As a player, you know this is where the season can take a dramatic turn, where the car's setup and your own skill will be tested to their absolute limits. The challenge is heightened, the stakes feel more real. This isn't just another race, it's an event. As the simulated season progresses, mirroring the narrative of mid-season rounds falling behind rivals, Sight 1, the races at Interlagos become significantly more challenging. The other teams, the digital Ferraris of Charles Leclerc or the McLarens, perhaps with a charging Lando Norris, suddenly find an extra gear. Their AI seems sharper, more aggressive. They close the gap in qualifying, they harry you relentlessly during the race, forcing you to defend lines you previously took for granted. Perhaps the in-game weather system throws a classic Interlagos curveball, a light drizzle turning into a heavy shower just as you're nursing worn slick tires. The grip levels plummet, the screen becomes a blur of spray, and every corner is a heart-in-mouth moment. The RB20, still a magnificent machine, now requires you to dig deeper, to extract that last tenth of a second. You're no longer just managing a lead, you're fighting tooth and nail for every position. This is where the true character of a champion, and by extension, the player, is forged. The tactile feedback from your device becomes more critical, feeling for that edge of adhesion, modulating the throttle with a newfound sensitivity to avoid a race-ending spin on a treacherous, rain-soaked curb at the exit of Junção. This mid-season fight brings the characteristics of the virtual RB20, and your adaptation to them as a player, into sharp focus. You learn its nuances, how it dances on the edge of grip, how to feather the throttle through the slower, more technical second sector of Interlagos, how to carry maximum speed through Ferra Dura without unsettling the rear. You imagine Max Verstappen's real-world inputs, that incredible car control, the ability to feel the limits and consistently operate just fractions beyond what seems possible. In Real Racing 3, you try to emulate that, braking later, turning in sharper, getting on the power earlier, all while battling an increasingly competitive grid. Perhaps the game even simulates subtle shifts in the car's balance as the fuel load decreases, or as the tires degrade, forcing constant adjustments to your driving style. You might find the RB20 is particularly strong under braking, allowing for daring overtakes into the Descida do Lago, but perhaps it demands a delicate touch on the throttle to manage wheel spin exiting the slower corners, especially if the track is damp. These are the moments where player skill truly merges with the car's inherent qualities, creating a deeply engaging experience. You might find yourself in a tense battle with a resurgent Mercedes, perhaps a digital Lewis Hamilton proving a tough nut to crack, his car seemingly planted through the high-speed sections, forcing you to use all the RB20's agility in the tighter parts of the circuit. The simulated championship then enters its decisive phase, reflecting the closing rounds, fending off rivals' arid championship victory, Sight 1. Interlagos, often a late-season fixture, could well be the stage for a title-deciding race in your real Racing 3 career. The pressure is immense. Every point counts. The rival teams are throwing everything at you. A late race safety car bunches up the field, erasing your hard-earned lead. Tire strategy becomes paramount. Do you pick for fresh softs for a final sprint, risking track position? Or do you try to make your worn mediums last, hoping to defend against cars with better grip? These are the strategic dilemmas that make Formula One, and its virtual recreations, so compelling. Imagine the scenario. 5 laps to go at Interlagos, a slender lead, and the ominous shape of a rival McLaren driven by Norris growing larger in your virtual mirrors. The engine sound of his car seems to get louder with each passing straight. The in-game crowd noise swells. Your palms are sweating. You have to hit every apex perfectly, defend intelligently but fairly, and manage your remaining tire life with surgical precision. The RB20 has to deliver, and so do you. Taking the checkered flag under such circumstances, fending off that final desperate lunge from your rival into the Senna S on the last lap, securing the win and, with it, the championship, the sense of elation is incredible, a digital echo of the real-world triumphs. Recreating such a journey, from early dominance, through mid-season struggles and intense rivalries, to a climactic championship victory at a legendary circuit like Interlagos, is what makes games like Real Racing 3 so addictive for motorsport fans. Piloting the Red Bull Racing RB20, channeling your inner Max Verstappen, and battling the unique challenges of the Brazilian Grand Prix offers a thrilling glimpse into the immense skill, pressure, and drama of Formula One. It's more than just a game. It's an appreciation of the fine margins, the split-second decisions, and the relentless pursuit of perfection that defines this incredible sport. The roar of the virtual RB20's engine as you cross the finish line, victorious, is a deeply satisfying sound, a fitting end to an epic simulated battle on one of the world's truly great racetracks. The 2024 São Paulo Grand Prix at Interlagos was not just a race, it was a symphony of chaos, a testament to skill under duress, and a narrative so dramatic it felt scripted for the grandest stage of motorsport. For Max Verstappen, starting a lowly P17 after a deluge disrupted qualifying and an engine penalty, it was the setup for a drive that would be etched into Formula One folklore, the kind of challenge that players of racing simulations like Real Racing 3 dream of conquering. Imagine loading up the Interlagos circuit in the game, the RB20 gleaming, but selecting that P17 starting slot, the digital rain lashing down. This was the reality Verstappen faced, and he transformed it into a masterclass. The weekend itself was a relentless battle against the elements. Qualifying, postponed due to torrential rain, finally unfolded on a sodden track. It was a treacherous lottery, with 5 red flags punctuating the sessions as even seasoned champions found the limits of adhesion and the unforgiving barriers of Interlagos. Big names faltered. Lewis Hamilton faced an early exit, and Verstappen himself, even before his penalty, wasn't at his usual sharp end. This set a grim picture for his Grand Prix prospects. For a gamer, this pre-race scenario would be the ultimate difficulty setting, a top-tier car, but buried deep in the pack, on a track notorious for its unpredictability, especially in the wet. The challenge: fight through, make the right calls, and survive. As the formation lap for the Grand Prix commenced, the drama was far from over. Lance Stroll found himself off the road, his engine cutting out, a heart-stopping moment as he rolled precariously before refiring. This near miss necessitated an aborted start, heightening the tension. The grid reformed, but the procedures were already frayed, with Lando Norris later noted for a starting procedure infringement, a messy overture to an already complex race. One could almost feel the pixelated equivalent in Real Racing 3, the AI cars jostling, the pre-race countdown restarting, adding to the player's own jangling nerves. Then, the 5 lights went out, and the São Paulo Grand Prix was finally, truly, underway. From P17, Verstappen's launch was nothing short of electric. In those opening exchanges, through the blinding spray kicked up by the tightly packed field, the Dutchman was a man possessed. He made up an astonishing 6 places on the very first lap. This wasn't just about raw pace, it was about decisive, inch-perfect overtaking, threading the needle where others hesitated. He was immediately on the attack, dispatching cars with a clinical efficiency that was breathtaking to behold. His initial target, Lewis Hamilton. The two titans, once again dueling, albeit in different circumstances. Verstappen sliced past, taking P10, a statement of intent that reverberated through the field. One can picture a player in Real Racing 3 executing similar moves, feeling that surge of adrenaline with each successful pass, the risk and reward of late braking into the Senna S in the wet. The charge continued relentlessly. Pierre Gasly was next, comfortably dispatched. Then, Fernando Alonso, a wily 2-time champion, could offer little resistance against the charging Red Bull. The RB20, in Verstappen's hands, seemed to be on a different plane of existence, finding grip where others skittered and slid. Oscar Piastri in the McLaren, a formidable talent himself, was made to look stationary as Verstappen roared past. He was in another league, demonstrating precisely why he carried the mantle of a multiple world champion. Each overtake was a mini-victory, a step closer to an improbable podium, let alone a win. His engineer's voice, calm amidst the storm, would confirm target after target. Car ahead is Piastri. Car ahead Lawson, and Verstappen would hunt them down. The conditions remained treacherous. The rain, though not the deluge that postponed qualifying, was a persistent, nagging presence. The intermediate tires were being worked hard, and the spray made visibility a constant nightmare. Lewis Hamilton, in his Mercedes, was having a particularly torrid time, the car visibly bouncing, a characteristic that plagued the team. He found himself off the road, struggling for composure, a stark contrast to Verstappen's serene progress. This battle with the machinery, the fight to keep the car pointing in the right direction, is a core element of any racing simulation, amplified tenfold in such adverse weather. As the race progressed, strategy began to unfold, or rather, unravel. The rain intensified in certain sections of the track. Ferrari, seeing an opportunity or perhaps a necessity, pitted Charles Leclerc for fresh intermediates. This is the kind of strategic gamble a Real Racing 3 player might face. Pit now and risk traffic, or stay out on worn tires as the track gets wetter. Leclerc rejoined in traffic, his initial pace blunted. Meanwhile, up front, George Russell, who had made a strong start to lead, and Lando Norris were engaged in their own battle, the top two feeling the pressure as their tires wore down. Then came a virtual safety car, triggered by Nico Hülkenberg spinning his Haas and beaching it on the old banking. Under the VSC, Russell and Norris made the critical decision to pit for fresh inters, a move that seemed logical to cover off the degrading rubber. However, this is where the unpredictable nature of Interlagos, and motorsport in general, threw a massive curveball. Shortly after the VSC ended, Franco Colapinto had a significant crash, bringing out a full safety car, which was then quickly upgraded to a red flag. The race was neutralized. This red flag was the pivotal moment, the ace up Verstappen's sleeve, delivered by fate. For those who hadn't pitted, like Esteban Ocon, who now found himself the surprise race leader, and crucially, Max Verstappen, who had cycled up to P2, it was a free pit stop. They could change to fresh tires with no time loss, negating any advantage Russell and Norris might have gained.